Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Nurabila binti Muhammad Ishaq. Today I would like to present my presentation for my final year project entitled Thermal Comfort Evaluation at 3 Non-Air Conditioning Preschool in Malacca using CBE tools. I am under supervision Technologist Dr. Amir Abdul Wahab bin Muhammad Damanhuri. For introduction, the introduction for this study are according to POW and POW 2013, Malaysia is a tropical country, hot and humid all year round, and the average of the temperature are between 20 to 32 degrees Celsius, while during night it will become between 21 to 27 degrees Celsius. Based on book of 2018, he said that the student will have health problem due to indoor air quality and their productivity will be decreased. Moreover, according to Wang 2015, students in a classroom would feel uncomfortable during learning and teaching process. Lastly, it also can affect the students because they are sensitive towards their surrounding based on Series and Science 2017. For problem segment, the first problem segment is, in this study, according to Nico 2015, he stated that lack of comfort can cause environmental stress and produce negative trend. That means the productivity of the student will be decreased. Next, the changes of climates to causing thermal comfort is hard to achieve as Malaysia is a tropical country. And lastly, based on Wagoki 2020, indoor air quality and surrounding temperature affect the learning process. This is because if the temperature is high, it can cause discomfort towards the student during their lesson. In this study, there are a few targets that have to be given fully attention to achieve this objective. The first one, to investigate a selected parameter of indoor thermal data at 3 preschool in Malacca. And second one is to determine indoor thermal comfort PMV, predicted mean mood, and PPD, predicted percentage of discomfort level using CBE tools. Scope of this research in this study are to analyze how thermal comfort correlates with occupant in non-air condition in the preschool. Fan was used as the mechanism of the research. Next, total of students involved in this study are about 15 to 20 students for each preschool. Moreover, the parameters used in this study are air temperature, mean radiant temperature, velocity, and relative humidity. And it's for environmental factor, while for personal factor, it consists of clothing insulation and metabolic rates. Lastly, PMV and PPD will be calculated by using CBE thermal comfort tool. Next is methodology. As you can see from the figure shown, this is my research flowchart. Based on this flowchart, the acceptable range for data collection was based on ICOP IAQ-2010 and ASHRAE standard, which is ASHRAE 55 2010. For the site selection, it involves students from 3 different preschools, which are Tadika Kemas Rumah Pangsa Kampung Padang A. Then second one is Tabika Kemas Kampung Padang A and Tabika Kemas Kampung Padang B, while the data was collected from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. The indoor sampling data was obtained by using data collection technique, which are by using TSI velocity, TSI dust track, and the questionnaire. Later, the collected data will be analyzed by using CBE thermal comfort tool software and SPSS. The figure below shown different preschool layout of the building. The first building, the first layout represents Tabika Kemas Rumah Pangsa Kampung Padang, known as Preschool A. Next, the layout at the middle is Tabika Kemas Kampung Padang A, known as Preschool B. And lastly, Tabika Kemas Kampung Padang B, known as Preschool C. The table shown the specification of the building. As you can see, the total number of students in preschool A is 16 students, and it has the same value for preschool C, which is Tabika Kemas Kampung Panjang B. While for preschool B, there are 15 students in the class. That means the total of the students are 47 students, and for to involve in during the study from 3 different preschools. During the study, the instrumentation that we use are TSI velociraptor and TSI dust track. TSI dust track we use to collect the amount of dust particle in the class, and the value need to be below 12 micrograms to make sure that the dust particle inhaled by the students is safe. This is because if the value is above 12 microgram, it can cause respiratory problem towards the student. Next, TSI velociraptor. TSI velociraptor we use to collect the environment factor for thermal comfort such as air temperature, relative humidity, and air velocity. As you can see, here is the example when the result were analyzed by using CBE Thermal Comfort Tool software, where the data obtained when the data obtained in each parameter, the data will be inserted into the input column. Then the PMV and PPD value will be generated out, and it will state whether the value is complies with ISO standard or not. Now I am going to explain about result and discussion. For this study, different parameters such as air temperature, relative humidity, and air velocity will be analyzed by using CBE thermal comfort tool to obtain the PMV and PPD result. That was for environmental factor, but for personal factor, it need the metabolic rate and clothing insulation data. Second, it is to see whether the data obtained is complies with ASHRAE and ICOP Indoor Air Quality 2010 standard. And lastly, to get the idea if the questionnaire distributed towards the student is significant with thermal comfort or not. In this slide, there are three types of graph based on environmental factor, which are air temperature, relative humidity, and air velocity. This result were obtained by using TSI velociraptor. From the graph, there are three different colors represent each of the preschool, which are preschool A, preschool B, and preschool C. The result for air temperature shown that the value are increasing as the time increase. The second graph shown the result for relative humidity. From the result, it is revealed that the value of the humidity is decreased when time is increased. Furthermore, the value of air velocity is irregular over time. It has an indefinite result because in the morning, the air velocity has a high value, but it decreases and increases over time. This is because when the circulation of air appears in high speed, then the result will be increased and vice versa. Next are the results obtained from the PMV and PPD using CBE thermal comfort tools. These three graphs represent each preschool and the value of PMV and PPD on PPD curve. The results for PMV and PPD are not complies with ISO standard. This is because the PMV value is out of the range that it was supposed to be. The value of PMV should be between negative 0.5 and 0.5 to get comfortable state. But the result of sensation level shown that both morning and afternoon condition slightly warm and hot at these three different preschool. As you can see from the graph, it consists two dotted lines which are black for morning and blue color for afternoon. It is shown that the relationship between PMV and PPD result. This data was taken from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. to evaluate the PMV and PPD level. So it can be concluded that the preschool C has the highest temperature and the hottest weather. This is because 99% of the occupants felt discomfort during afternoon as the air temperature inside the building is rise towards 33.5 degrees Celsius. The table shown in this slide represents the PMV and PPD result for every 1 hour based on 3 different preschools. As you can see, the result of PMV and PPD is increasing over time. The thermal sensation changes to slightly warm, warm, and hot. The thermal comfort for these 3 different preschools are not compared with the standard that we choose. In this slide, it is shown the correlation between CBE tools and questionnaire. From the graph, it is shown the result of 3 different temperatures at 3 different preschools. Black color represents preschool A, red color line graph means for preschool B, and blue color for preschool C. These 3 preschools did not comply and achieve the thermal comfort satisfactory based on ASHRAE 55 standard. As the temperature is increasing, times also increase. But the result of thermal comfort is different when the survey was conducted verbally with the student because they said that they feel comfortable with surrounding condition. Therefore, the feedback that the student gave is not significant with the ASHRAE standard. Besides, psychological effect is important as it can tell the performance or productivity of the student in the class. This is because students that tend to feel tired after doing some activity. Thus, a question was asked about how they felt during learning process. The table represents the condition they felt in the class for preschool A and preschool B. Most students feel uncomfortable for both preschool A and preschool B. The number of students who felt uneasy in both preschools is 5 students. This is because of rising temperature made them feel uneasy in the building. Even though the temperature is increased, they still manage to perform their learning process. The table shows the condition that preschool C felt. It consists of non-comfortable, sleepy, tired, and hungry. Hunger was the most common condition felt by the student, accounting for half of the students, which are 50%, and the least selection is sleepy condition. As for other conditions such as non-comfortable and tired, both of it has the same percentage value, which are 18.75%, equivalent to 3 students each. The conclusion that I conclude from this study are first, all the parameters of thermal comfort are affected the indoor thermal comfort towards the occupant in the building. The results shown that the thermal comfort throughout 3 different preschools does not achieve or comply the ASHRAE 55-2010 standard. Second, the CBE thermal comfort tools do not correlate with the student's response to the questionnaire, and air temperature affect the value of relative humidity. There are few recommendations that can be proposed in this study, which are engineering measures, site selection, and data collection. As for the first point, ventilation system is needed to improvise in this preschool. Add an exhaust fan to improve the indoor air quality to circulate with fresh air. Next is site selection. Different location with different surrounding is needed in this study. This is because it can achieve better results. In addition, data collection. To get a valid data, it is advisable to increase the number of samples of data. For example, take data for 3 days in a row for each preschool. Lastly, this is a list of some of the references or resources that I use while conducting my research. That's all from me. Thank you for your time.